to take it up several notches. We're going to put our hands and our hearts together for Rebecca Anderson.
The 8th graders arrived like thugs at a union rally. They're laughing, but looking out of the corners of their eyes. Rat-faced Jacob Hoffman scurries to the back corner and unplugs the Christmas lights that we've run along the floor. While making eye contact with me, he says to his friends, "It's creepy. It's like they want to watch us." The 6th graders, giddy and nervous and excited, arrive and fling themselves at me and say things like, "Oh my God, I love the signs, they're so funny." I've made these really cartoony, dorky posters that say things like, "Don't make me say something awkward, please dance appropriately." Grinding had always been against the rules at school dances. It's just that the rule had not been enforced. But then I got hired as the advisor to the 2006 Student Council, and I was glad to take on the fight. Glad because, yes, I'm a rule follower, but also glad because I had been at those dances as a kid, watching my best friend grind up on her boyfriend while I sat on the bleachers, watching the cool kids in their Benetton sweaters grind up on each other's asses while they drank whatever out of Snapple bottles. More than that, I was the dorky kid who chose one day in the basement hallway in the industrial arts section of our building, alone in the hallway, out on a bathroom pass, alone, I think, like an idiot. I'm the dork who decides, alone in the hallway on a bathroom pass, to practice my Roger Rabbit for the upcoming school dance. I will not be enacting it here, but it involves some. So I'm practicing my dance in the industrial arts hallway, alone, when who should come out but my asshole mean kid crush, Matt Bashara, who takes in what I'm doing and says, somewhat understandably, "Feeble." So I stand with the dorks, because now I can. Kids who wear Velcro shoes, someone's got to stand with those kids. Someone's got to protect them. So we had already had one dance that year, and it had not gone well. My boss had decided to chaperone as a favor to me, and in the middle of the dance, she came flapping over toward me in this sort of diaphanous skirt and her hair flying around. She goes, Rebecca, do you see what they're doing? It's disgusting. They're making sandwiches." What? 2 boys grinding on one girl, they're making sandwiches. All the teachers are horrified, but no one will say anything. They just stood around the perimeter, clutching their hearts and averting their gazes. So it was up to me to fix before the next dance. So like the good camp counselor that I am, I arranged some talking circles, I got some blank index cards, had the kids sit on the floor, the 7th grade girls, 8th grade girls, asked questions like, when I see my friends grinding, I feel... And then I would read the anonymous answers out loud. I have to say that each of the boys' meetings, and I'm not kidding, was run by the gym teacher who said things like, "Don't grind or we call your parents and you're going home." That was it. That was the guys' meeting. In my meetings, we read the answers out loud, and these sort of tender-hearted 7th grade girls, when they heard that some of their friends felt uncomfortable, said things like, "Well, I guess I can wait until I'm older to grind." The 8th graders, on the other hand, said things like, "If grinding makes you uncomfortable, you should stay home." So after the meetings, there were rumors and arguments. It became sort of a civil rights issue for the kids. So there was like a knock at my office door, and the vice president of the student council showed up. And he's the only person I've ever allowed to call me Becky in my whole adult life. He goes, "Becky Andy, what's this I hear about no grinding at the dances?" "Ben, come in. I need my sexy time, Becky Andy." I have to say, like, I believe that even young people people are sexual beings, you know, but I don't care how sex positive you are. The idea of, I'm just gonna say this, sorry DDH, vaunted halls, no matter how sex positive you are, the idea of tiny boners is so viscerally disgusting. Some things just cannot stand. And I have to say, it was a religious school, okay? And obviously, I believe that human spirituality and human sexuality can go together, but it's an ethics issue. It's an ethics issue. You've got sixth graders who are like, what is happening in the dark, seamy 8th grade corner? They've just got to be protected, okay? So it's an ethics issue. Another knock at the door. Can I come in? I just wanted to ask you about something. I heard that you're not going to allow any rap or hip hop at the dance, and I'm sorry. I don't mean to offend you, but I think that's kind of racist. First of all, I did not disallow rap or hip hop. I did suggest that Loosen Up My Buttons, Babe was not age appropriate for 11-year-olds. Sue me. So we're at the dance. Dorky posters, unplugged lights, a sullen but polite 8th grade girl approaches me, sent to tell me that it is really kind of weird how the teachers are just staring at us. You know, is it possible that if you're doing something in front of a teacher that makes you uncomfortable, you should stop? I was wearing social worker chic, much like I'm wearing now. Dance coat clogs, sweater, trousers. I was unafraid, even in the face of accusations of racism, to clomp across the school gym floor when my humps started playing. I had been trained in the gulag of my own middle school experience. If I could survive dancing with no one, ever, in middle school, if I could survive that whole Matt Bashara in the hallway incident, I could survive this. Years ago now, maybe when I was a student here, my brother said to me, he was trying to coach me through some identity crisis, you know what, Beck? I think those kids you went to middle school with, I think they really got inside your head. It's time to get over it. Like, if you were ever a fat, ugly nerd, which I'm not really sure that you were, you're not now. You know, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But there's this other part of me that thinks, no, once you're a nerd, you're always a nerd. And I'm so glad. I'm a minister. I work with kids. I'm still scared of Lincoln Park. You know what I mean? I just can't. It's so important. Those cool kids, they don't need my help. They don't need community. And that is always what I'm after. Always. At a Moth event. You got who listens to the Moth or goes to the Moth or sees for attendance. So you should, if you're ever going to preach, you're wasting your time, friends. You gotta listen to the Moth. It's true stories told live, and so I put that together for an event about nerds and geeks. I got into the storytelling thing, like Yvonne said. I did stand up in Boston. I always liked and did comedy that was sort of narrative based. It's the kind of stuff that I love. And I found my way in through the Moth. I heard it on the radio. I went to a live event here, and I just kind of got sucked into more and more events here. One of the things on the back of this handout that I gave you, which you can't see, it's dark, are a list of events. There are tons of live lit things happening in Chicago. Like almost every night of the week, you can find something. Many of which you can tell, you know, they're open mic things, of which you can tell. So our plan for tonight is this. We're going to talk a minute about story. We're going to use mine as an example. Seth Patterson is here with us. I can't even introduce him properly. Seth and I have just met this year. What is your actual role at Rockefeller Chapel?
I'm the Associate Director for Chapel Life, which doesn't mean anything.
There he is. And Seth's got a theater background and performance chops, and we met each other through the Chicago Commons program. But we're also going to talk a little bit about performance, which I've got that in my background, but not the way Seth does. And then we're going to hear Colton's story. So, and then there's even though it sounds like, how could there possibly be time for all of that, then you guys are going to get a few little shorties in the mix, like 2 or 3 minute stories from you. So that's the plan. We're going to talk about story. It's having a moment. It's a thing. I will include a plug for this other thing that I'm working on. which I'm currently a pastor at Glencoe Union Church, and I'm leaving at the end of June to plant a new congregation in Rogers Park. And one of our core practices is telling true stories that save lives. So I go to these storytelling things, and people will stand up as many as 5 hours to get in someplace, to hear stories, some of which are mediocre or worse. And it's sold out to 20, 30, and 40-somethings. And I think about the church beating its breast about how young people aren't interested. And I think, you're just doing a bad job. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tell true stories that save lives. So let's talk a little bit about story. So the way I'm talking about it is there's a difference between story and anecdote. There's a difference between story and essay. For my money, anecdote, memory, all that, that's your raw data. Okay, that stuff all counts, it's good, it's all in the mix. But a story is something that has a beginning, middle, and end. And for most of the stuff that we're doing, whether it's preaching or storytelling or pitching an idea to a committee or whatever, beginning, middle, and end, and it has a meaning. A happened, then B happened, then C happened. And here's what I think about that now. Here's what changed. That's the thing that Ira Glass does all the time on This American Life, which is why he's so easy to make fun of, that he tells these great little stories, and then he's like, and the thing is, and then he does like the great like